Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnanatimarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Pandantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhena Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tacha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindho Vaivaccha Parijanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Translation and commentary, His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki. So, today, chapter 4, Gyan Vibhag Yoga, and text number 40. Please repeat. Agnyas Chashradhanas Cha Samsayatma Vinashyati Nayam Loko Sti Na Paro Nasukam Samsayatmana Agnya Cha Shradhanascha Samsayatma Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti Na Paro Na Sukham Samsayatmana Agnya Cha Shradhanascha Samsayatma Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti Na Paro Na Sukham Samsayatmana. Okay, go ahead. Samsayatma Vinashyati Na Sukham Samsayatmana Ajnanashradhanascha Samsayatma Vinashyati Kamalokosti Natparo Na Sukham Samsayatmana. Ajnascha Shradhanascha Samsayatma Vinashyati Mayam Lokosti Natparo No Shokam Samsayatmana. Agyascha Shradhanascha Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti Naparo Na Sukham Samsayatmana Ajnanascha Shradhanascha samsayatma vinashyati, nayam lokosti na paro, na sukham samsayatmanaha, ajnanascha shridadanascha, samsayatma vinashyati, nayam lokosti na paro, na sukham samsayatmanaha. Okay, word for word, please repeat. Agya, a fool who has no knowledge in standard scriptures. Cha, and ashradadhana, without faith in revealed scriptures. Cha, also samshaya, of doubts. Atma, a person. Vinashyati, falls back. Na, never. Ayam, in this. Lokaha, world. Asti, there is. No, nor. Paraha, in the next life. Na, not. Sukham, happiness. Samsaya, doubtful. Atmana, of the person. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Please repeat. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Purport Srila Prabhupada. Of the many standard and authoritative revealed scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita is the best. Persons who are almost like animals, have no faith in or knowledge of. Can you close these windows, please? Hello, Mataji. The window behind you, please close. It's very distracting. Close the window, never mind. They'll never chup karo. Okay, where were we? We'll start with the second sentence. We'll start from the beginning. Out of the many standard and authoritative scriptures, it's one of those days. Out of the many standard and authoritative revealed scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita is the best. That's a very direct statement. Persons who are almost like animals have no faith in or knowledge of the standards revealed scriptures, and some, even though they have knowledge of or can cite passages from the revealed scriptures, have actually no faith in these words. And even though others may have faith in scriptures, like Bhagavad Gita, they do not believe in or worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Such persons cannot have any standing in Krishna consciousness. They fall down. Out of all the above mentioned persons, those that have no faith and are always doubtful make no progress at all. Persons without faith in God and His revealed word find no good in this world nor in the next. For them there is no happiness whatsoever. One should therefore follow the principles of revealed scriptures with faith and thereby be raised to the platform of knowledge. Only this knowledge will help one become promoted to the transcendental platform of spiritual understanding. In other words, Doubtful persons have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipation. One should therefore follow in the footsteps of great acharyas who are in the disciplic succession and thereby attain success. Mukam karoti vachalam bhangam laite girim yat pripatamaham bande Sri Guru vinatarinam agyanas cha shradadanas cha samsayatma vinashyati mayam lokosti na paro na sukham samsayatmanaha. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. So here Krishna is giving the opposite point. In the previous verses, Krishna was telling Arjuna the result of getting transcendental knowledge. The previous two verses we'll read. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Nothing so sublime and pure, just consider. This is a very important point. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. So when you get transcendental perception, knowledge in this context means not just Brahmavid, knowing the words, but Brahmanishta. It means to come to the point where you actually experience transcendence. So that is real jnana, vijnana, seeing transcendence and seeing its nature different from the material. If you can attain this realization, this perception of transcendence, then there's nothing as sublime and pure as that, because the spiritual world is supremely pure. And this perception, this knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service, right? Somebody who's mature in his chanting, study of Shastra, his sadhana. Now this verse applies to all of us. We shouldn't think, we gave a class on Vedavyasa on Saturday, right? We performed big austerity in Shaktivesha Avatar. But we shouldn't think that just Prahlad Maharaj, Vedavyasa, Dhruva Maharaj, the residents of Vrindavan can attain transcendence. Rupa Goswami says we should be confident that we ourselves, by grace of Guru, Shastra and Lord Chaitanya, that we can attain transcendence. We shouldn't think, oh, that's for the person next to me, not for me. I was never good in school. I didn't pass my exams. No, we should think that everyone, by the grace of Krishna, and the point of today's verse, if they follow revealed scripture in the line of the great sages, in the disciplic succession, they can attain. And one who has become accomplished in the practice, sadhana bhakti, of devotional service, enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. So, that means he becomes a realized soul. And he enjoys, vindati is the Sanskrit, it's very interesting, vindati. Yes, he feels transcendental pleasure. You'll find in the later chapter, number 9, Susukam Kartam Avyayam. The devotional service is Susukam Kartam. It's performed joyfully. So the devotee, he feels transcendental pleasure. Enjoys this knowledge in due course of time. So due course means it takes time. When you plant a tree, you don't get the fruit straight away. So Rupa Goswami has given the example. He's compared the practice of bhakti to a creeper, the creeper of devotion. So everyone knows the fruit comes even after the flower. Right? First it grows up, and the acharyas have given the explanation that when a plant comes through, generally it has 2 leaves. So these are Gyan and Vairag, symbolically, knowledge and renunciation. And then in the center, the bhakti, lata bij, grows. So it grows. Rupa Goswami gives a very elaborate analogy. Says it grows through all the material coverings, and there it finds shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Then it blossoms, that is Bhava Bhakti, and then it renders a fruit, that is Prem Bhakti. And the devotee offers that fruit to Krishna and enjoys the prasad. But also, for a creeper to grow properly, all the weeds should not be allowed to overwhelm the plant. So we should follow, as Prabhupada said here, follow in the footsteps of great acharyas who are in disciplic succession to attain success. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, Yukta Vairagya Sauchite. There we should perform pious activity, not impious activity. That can be offered to the Supreme Lord in His service. And we should follow all the rules and regulations. And then we will surely come out successful. And we should cast aside weeds like desire for profit, adoration, distinction, material opulence, and so on. So, next verse. A faithful man, see, Krishna is explaining now the contrast to today's verse. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, right? A faithful man, Shraddha, who is dedicated, bhakti, to transcendental knowledge, he's studying the Shastra, he's trying to understand Krishna from Guru Parampara, and who subdues his senses. So this is what we were just saying. He doesn't let the weeds of material enjoyment. He lives a simple life. As Prabhupada said, simple living, high thinking. We should live an uncomplicated life as far as possible. Of course, now it's Kali Yuga. There's 100 million tax forms to fill in. Life is getting more and more complicated. But anyway, we should live simple life, and then the senses will become peaceful. So that means we should follow proper diet, avoid intoxication and so forth. And then you become eligible to achieve such transcendental knowledge. Why? Because that is the birthright of the soul. The soul is spiritual, so it can perceive transcendence naturally. The only problem is the agitation of the material energy, the material conditioning, covering the material body, covering the soul. So once that is placated in healthy condition, and one follows sadhana bhakti, everyone can achieve, and you're all devotees, right? You all have experience, right? When you chant, you follow Ekadashi, you study the Gita, then you get realization, right? That's what keeps us all going, right? Because we feel, I'm real, I'm getting some nectar. So he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace, right? So that's the person that is doing things nicely, but the person who isn't, who's doubtful, agyan. Well, Prabhupada in the purport, if you remember, he gave three types of people. One is the agyan. That means a fool who has no knowledge, agya means no knowledge, in standard scriptures. Right? So many people, they may be following Tantra, right? Or sentimental ideas about spirituality. Or they may mix in political ideas with spiritual. They may mix in so many speculations. But standard, Prabhupada is saying, as it is. It's scientific. You don't need, you should get the standard knowledge. Standard means that by which everything is judged. So the standard, and Prabhupada always makes this point very clearly. He says that Bhagavad Gita is very clear and it should be read as it is. When Krishna says, I am the Supreme Lord, he means it. So everyone, common endeavor is, who is God? What is the nature of God? So Prabhupada always made the point here. Krishna is explaining. Instead of becoming locked into some dogmatic cult, recent, only 2,000, 1,000 years old, go to the standard knowledge of the Vedas, which is Shabda Brahman, eternal knowledge. This is the standard. If you actually want to know God, you want to realize God, Prabhupada used the word God consciousness. If you actually want, then don't become locked in to some tradition. I was born in this religion, so-called religion, therefore I have to follow it, and everything outside is the devil. Not very intelligent way to deal with spiritual inquiry. If spirit is spirit, it should be all-pervasive and all-available and beyond material designation. Right? But if you become locked into some mindset that I'm with God and everybody else is a pagan or an infidel or a human animal and I'm the only person in my religion, then this is remaining ignorant. So this is the point. First point is agya, the person who's a fool, but then Prabhupada, they have no faith in the standard scriptures. They have no faith in the Veda. And then Prabhupada makes a third point, that they may have no faith in Bhagavad Gita or fearful, think, oh, it's the devil in the form of a book like that. It's going to make me doubtful in my religion. But then they may take certain things from the Gita and say, oh look, there's a nice thing here about yoga, breathing exercises. Oh, there's nice things about how a pious man should be non-envious, friendly, charitable. So they may take, as Americans say, cherry pick. They take the cherry off the tree. They don't take the whole tree. They leave the thorn behind. So they may take what they like, and they may look to Bhagavad Gita and say, oh, it's a very good book for moral principles and so on and so forth. But they disregard Krishna. They say, well, Krishna is giving this knowledge, but he is just like a postman. No, Krishna is the head of the post office. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam. Right? Later on in 11th chapter, Krishna says, you are the Param Purush, you are the Supreme Person. And this is said by all the sages, Asitala, Devala, Vyas. Right? And then in the modern era, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, even Shankaracharya said, Narayano Pravyaktat. Narayan, the shelter of all people, is above Vyaktat, Supreme Person. So he even contradicts monism or impersonal conception. So that is an important point, because people that without faith, they just have an empirical attitude. So they just think, oh, it's a nice book, and now tomorrow I'm going to read another book about this, and I'm going to read this one. And they put it all into a bit of a hodgepodge, mishmash. Of course they get some benefit, they're reading Gita, so on and so forth. But the real point is that to receive it, and Prabhupada says, in disciplic succession. Because until Prabhupada went to the West, Prabhupada used to say that there are 250 editions of the Bhagavad Gita in the West. And I remember that.
650.
Maybe Maybe 300 more have been printed since. But anyway, there's a lot. And I remember I read a Penguin one when I was in college. I was studying. So I got a Bhagavad Gita by the Penguin. Actually, I was hitchhiking, and a big professor picked me up from Cambridge. He gave me a lift. And he said, oh, he was teaching Oriental philosophy in Cambridge. He was the Vice Chancellor, P.C. Avery. So he gave me a list of books to read. Sufism, this one, that one, and the Gita. I got a Gita from the bookshop. So I read it, and I'm trying to figure it out, because it's highly esoteric. And I got something, but I never got the idea that this is the Supreme Lord speaking to his devotee. You understand? But you, all devotees, you all know this point. Right? And this is common knowledge. But, extraordinary as it may seem, once you go outside, people do not even know that they're not the material body. Right? That's the first point Krishna tells Arjuna. You don't want to fight, you're on the bodily platform. You have to perform your duty. Even though you have to kill these people, you have to perform your duty. So, you're not really killing them because they're not the body. That's their vehicle. Just like if I break your motor car or you break my bicycle, I'm still doing okay. Right? And you're still doing okay. You may be upset about your motor car, but you're still existing, whole and complete. So there was another point of Srila Prabhupada actually, while we're on this topic. Why isn't this being taught? This basic spiritual knowledge in school? Right? Why aren't people being told when they go to school? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that you're not the material body. This is the first point of spiritual life, right? Of spiritual knowledge. With glorifying spiritual knowledge, what's the first point? The first point is, I'm not this material body. I'm within the body, I'm a soul. I'm not the material mind. We have two bodies around the soul, the mental body and the material gross body. So why isn't this on the syllabus? Right? Agyam, fools. We're going, taking a child when they're 5, and they go, to 15, or then they even go to 20 odd in college, and they come out, and you ask them, what are you? Say, I'm me, I'm a man. So after about 18 years of training, they still think that they're the material body. And you say, oh, what's going to happen to you in the future? Well, I'm going to live to about 70 odd, probably get diabetes from bad diet and all the chemicals, and then I'll die, and that'll be the end of me. No knowledge, no spiritual knowledge. After 18 years in a school, all rubbish information. Don't train people how to do anything useful. They just train them to learn things and then regurgitate it, repeat it. Become a nice, trained, obedient, compliant worker. Don't develop your initiative, intelligence. Don't develop some skill. Don't develop spiritual knowledge. Just learn to obey. So what kind of education is that? Oh, it keeps people under control. No, but if people have spiritual knowledge, if they know I'm not the body, and they know that this person is not the body, and then what is the next point? Krishna tells Arjuna, karma. If you don't perform your duty, then you are going to, as it says in this sloka, today's sloka, you will fall down. If you don't perform, klesas adhikarascha. If you have a right to do your duty, but if you don't do it, that is negative. So all sorts of knowledge in the Gita. And then if people think, oh, if I do a bad thing, according to the law of karma, then I'll get a bad reaction. This idea is more powerful than any police force. You're worried about the population becoming misbehaving, right? Now occasionally there is misbehavior, not just all over the world, maybe not in Greenland so much, or in the North Pole with the Eskimos, but the people are rioting, right? Even in so-called civilized country. Actually, when Gandhi was asked, what do you think of Western civilization? He said, it would be a good idea. So anyway, in London, Paris, previously civilized places, so to speak, people are rioting, right? There's fighting even in India, fighting. Why? Because people think, I'll get away with it. But if you have the law of karma, if you've learned that, then you think, well, I better not go killing and rioting and stealing, because in future it will come back to me. Now this won't stop all bad elements, right? Because that is the second point. But at least people should not be fools, agyan, without knowledge. Now the next point is samsayatmana, doubting person. They have no faith in this knowledge. Okay, there will always be that element. So you need military force, police force to discipline the population. But if everyone is in spiritual knowledge, it will be more peaceful. It is not that by training children from birth to just be obedient and stand in line and so on and so forth, and just be an obedient worker in some big corporation. It is not that that will make people peaceful, because they will become frustrated. These people are rioting, yes, they may be stealing a new shirt or a boombox or whatever, but the real thing is they're frustrated in life. They're unhappy. And this is the, right? What does Krishna say? He says it here. They're not happy. Na sukham asti, in this life, na paro, nor in the next life, lokosti. So without spiritual knowledge, then people will be undisciplined. So actually, by keeping people ignorant, you're only making more problems in society. It's not, they sometimes think like that, right? Keep people poor, keep them in fear, keep them in ignorance, and they're easier to control, right? This is how the totalitarian, demoniac, right? We've seen atheistic communism, Mao Zedong, they say, killed 100 million people, of his own people. Then there was Pol Pot. He learned atheistic socialism in Paris. Did you know? He went back to Cambodia, and they say he killed 1/3 of the people of Cambodia. 2 million out of 6 million. If you had glasses, you were considered contaminated. If you were a taxi driver and you could say a few words in English, you were considered contaminated. So you could not be part of the utopian state. You were taken to the killing fields. Yes, this is true. I know it sounds amazing, but this is a fact. He had a dream idea that we're going to re-establish. These people are always utopian. That we're going to have a perfect society. And everyone that disagrees, well, we'll just kill them. Yes, that's a perfect society, of course. Yeah, he wasn't Krishna conscious. Yes. So people, this is a side point, but we've discussed it many times, people who believe in some kind of achievement of a material utopia, they're often the most violent and murderous people. They want to kill everyone who disagrees. So Stalin, they say, killed 6 million. And it is even in the writings of Marx and Engels, they're the big theoreticians of communism. They said yes, to achieve the communist fulfillment, bodily and mental achievement, you may have to kill. So in the early days of communism, under Khrushchev and all that, they had killing squads. They used to go to places and they were given quotas, 100 million. And so then the people, there was like a huge nightmare over Russia for a long time. People were even scared to talk to their neighbors about anything, or else they knew that in the middle of the night, knock, taken and killed. It's actually horrific. So, especially in Kali Yuga, these demoniac leaders, they want to control the population by this fear tactic. And television, keep them stupid, like now the World Cup, right? It's finished, World Cup. So, okay, sports are okay. Young men, young ladies, good sports, keep fit, healthy, learn to interact with fellow human beings. But now it's presented as if it's the end of the world. The most sublime thing you could ever do is to win the World Cup. It's only a football game, and people are crying and, oh my God, I sold my house and they lost in the final. So to get the money, now I'm penniless, I have to sleep on the beach. Never mind. So it's all presented. Sports. The Roman leaders, the Caesars, had a motto. It was called bread and circus. That people are all poor, so you give them bread and they feel thankful, and then you give them the circus. The circus is a common word, but it was actually a big racetrack, and they had gladiators and they would race along on these chariots, and if you were the winner, it was like you'd won the World Cup or something. So they had a state, the ruling elite. So because they are fools and they have no faith and they're becoming demoniac, then they use power and poverty and ignorance to control the population. Because the elite, what do the elite have? They have everything. They have the industry, they have the media, they're controlling the schools, they are controlling food, they're controlling the land, they're controlling everything, and 99% of the people, they're just, living hand to mouth. But the elite see this. We don't have one thing. We don't have the numbers. We are 1% and they are 99%. So they're always fearful of revolution and so on and so forth. So they are always negatively disposed to the general population. But there's no need of that attitude if you're Krishna conscious and you're giving Krishna consciousness to the population. If people have knowledge, you're not the body, there's the law of karma, there's going to be a next life, then they will live peacefully. And they will appreciate, they're teaching us that, right? So this was Yudhisthira. But Duryodhana, this is the reason, because Duryodhana was that second type. He was unpopular with the populace and he was repressive. Like Ravana. This is the idea of National Socialism. Yes, if you agree, we'll take care of you. If you disagree, you have to go to the concentration camp. That's the basic policy, right? But spiritual society is based on spiritual knowledge from standard scriptures. And the leaders should be realized in it themselves, and they should make sure that the general population take advantage of this knowledge. And then when everyone's on the same page in society, they have these spiritual knowledge, then automatically society will run. Automatically. Because the people will become more pious, there'll be less interpersonal conflict, there'll be less greed, so everything will be available. But there's never going to be a utopia. Utopia has two translations. It means perfect society, but utopia also means nowhere. Because in the material world, there's no perfect society in the sense that everyone is going to die, right? This is all temporary, and we are going to get old, and we're going to get diseases, right? And then you have to be reborn again. This material world is not a comfortable place. Dukhalayama sashvatam. So, actually, if people hear spiritual knowledge from childhood, Komaram Archet, this is in the Bhagavatam, right? Prahlad Maharaj. Then they grow up with this knowledge, right? They grow up understanding, I'm not this material body. Everyone is my brother and sister because we're all expansions of the Supreme Lord. How do I maintain bodily and physical health? Follow this diet, chant Hare Krishna, avoid sinful activity, right? And then sukham. But if you don't do this, na sukham. Everybody wants to be happy, right? It's Krishna goes to the point, right? Everyone wants to feel sukham. So sukham, that's also in the Gita, Krishna explains, sukham is coming from mode of goodness, not from mode of passion and ignorance, not from desire, agitation, not from controlling power, tamagun. That is, we've discussed this many times. Person in the mode of passion, he wants to enjoy the material world. And a big TV, a big house, famous position, big motor car, and enjoy. Big family, nice associates. The person in the mode of ignorance is more angry and envious. He wants to control. He's frustrated. He cannot enjoy. You can only eat 5 chapatis every day. Maybe 6. Anyway, whatever. But so people who try to enjoy, they end up being a little frustrated in an undisciplined way, right? So they want to enjoy by control. So this is Rakshasabha. I want to be the big man. And therefore Stalin, he killed 60 million, they say. God bless him. But he used to, when they had the show trials, he used to watch through a grill, a window. And he would take enjoyment at seeing those people being condemned to death. You know? He's, that's nice, he's going to be dead. So, this is Rakshasva, this is Tamagun, envious, anger. But if people are in the mode of goodness, they feel some happiness within themselves. But what we understood here from 2 verses ago, enjoying spiritual knowledge should not be confused with spiritual material happiness. Sukham and Anand is different. You may get happiness, yes, the devotee, Susukham Kartam Avyayam, he is performing bhakti in a happy way. But he's not trying for material happiness. And he's achieving transcendental knowledge, but he's feeling anand. That is his happiness. He's feeling spiritual bliss. Because in the material world, everyone is in illusion. In the spiritual world, everyone sees truth permanently. In the material world, people are in anxiety. In the spiritual world, they're free of anxiety. In the material world, people are unhappy. In the spiritual world, people are blissful. Satchit Ananda, nature of the soul. So Sat aspect means we feel anxiety. Chit aspect, in the material world we feel confused, illusion. Satchit Ananda, we don't feel happy, we feel Niranand, we feel a kind of vacancy in the heart, unsatisfied. But when the soul is in the transcendental energy, then he feels eternal, he feels full of knowledge, he feels full of bliss. So, but here Krishna says they fall down. The material energy will make you fall down. So vinashyati, falls back. So a doubtful person will reject this and go into the material energy. Now it's Kali Yuga, passion and ignorance is very powerful. Right? So its future is not is very tenuous. People are taking alcohol, and then these demoniac people selling cocaine everywhere and heavy drugs, so on and so forth. So because people are not satisfied, they take these intoxicants and they're very bad and they fall down into lowest species of life, right? Excuse me? Huh? Maybe. I'll see how I feel. But we're coming to the end. So, for the doubting soul, there's happiness neither in this world nor in the next. So sometimes people think, oh, I want to die at the end of life, right? They feel so disappointed. They look forward to death. It'll be a relief. But actually, it's not. If you've been sinful then in your next life, the death process is explained, and how you attain is in the Vedanta Sutra, and here and there throughout the Vedas, in the Thaba Ved, and it's very interesting. Also, people have near-death experience, it corresponds. They observe the life, because everything that we've done is stored in the ether. So at the time of death, the soul observes his life from a third person standpoint. Now we're living inside our life, right? We're doing so many things. But Chitragupta, Yamaraj, they show the soul what he has done. And then the soul judges himself. Right? Oh, I did many bad things. And then he's ready to accept Naivanetrena, his next life. It's not that he's just thrown into the next life. No, he's educated. So, I remember I was watching on YouTube some debates between an atheist and a theist. And the atheist, he died recently. He became an alcoholic. He was 61, and he died of throat cancer. So they're saying sometimes these material scientists, some are theistic of course, they're saying, oh, when we die, that's it. There's no next life. Not so. You're going to have a big surprise. Well, it should be a pleasant surprise to find out you're eternal. But the thing is, this is the point. If people understand, it even says in the Bible, right? As you sow, so you will reap. So if people understand that there's a reaction to my activity, then naturally, even on the material plane, they'll try to behave nicely. And they'll try to avoid bad behavior. So, Agya, people should be given this knowledge when they are young. Then they will be less doubtful. It is good to doubt in the sense an intelligent person will examine. Krishna says, Didami buddhi yogam tam. So we have to have knowledge to discriminate. We shouldn't think. Krishna says, Prabhupada translates, standard scriptures. So that doesn't mean that means that knowledge which is given in disciplic succession, those scriptures. We shouldn't think, oh, it's in Sanskrit, therefore it's perfect. There are many Sanskrit treatises on different subjects. So we have to have some intelligence to examine. So doubt can be a good thing. But the quality of spiritual knowledge is, and I'm sure you're all devotees, is that it is very satisfying. Yayatma suprasidati in the Bhagavatam. You feel satisfied by it. You feel like, yes. And it is clear. So then people, they will be less foolish, they'll be less doubtful. And if they have proper instruction, they'll understand that Krishna is just not some extraordinary personality, but they should accept the whole picture, and that Krishna is Supreme Lord. And this knowledge is ultimately summed up by Krishna, Manmana, that we should become Krishna conscious. Knowledge like the Bhakti Lata Beach is knowledge renunciation. So yes, we understand from scripture, then we practice chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then we get realization, like you said at the beginning of the class, right? So that is the perfection of knowledge. And if somebody attains that samadhi of always being absorbed in thought of Krishna within the heart, this is an important point, we'll finish on this point, and that is Krishna is everywhere, but he resides within the heart of all living beings, and Jivatma is there. So the foundation of our consciousness is not the brain. That is the foolish material idea, that the brain is some chemical factory creating consciousness. No, consciousness is interacting with the brain, just like the wind interacts with the tree. The tree doesn't create the wind, but it interacts with the wind. So the wind is the consciousness of the soul. So therefore, when the soul, is unhappy, the brain will react in that way. And then the material scientist comes along and says, oh, you're depressed because you're endomorphins or something. So we'll give a chemical, you feel happy. Alright, this is the idea of psychiatry. But they're driving everyone nuts with all these psychiatric drugs, right? Isn't it? You read about it in the newspaper. The people, they stop these psychiatric drugs, then they go nuts. They start shooting people in the school and... So anyway, this is a mistake. The brain isn't creating consciousness. The brain is reacting just with the rest of the body to the consciousness emanated by the soul. And that soul with Krishna is in the heart. And through the nervous system, through the bodily function, the consciousness is manifest in the external body. So when we meditate on Krishna, we meditate within the heart. Right, they have t-shirts in the temple. I lost my heart in Vrindavan. They should change that. No, I lost my money in Vrindavan. Or I lost my glasses to the monkeys in Vrindavan. No. You see it downtown all the time. Here's a banana. If I stole someone's glasses, they wouldn't give me bananas. I don't know why they give to the monkeys. Anyway, so they should change that to I found Krishna in my heart in Vrindavan. That would be a better t-shirt, right? Because Krishna consciousness is not about losing your heart. It's about finding your soul. So anyway, we'll finish on that point. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, any question? We didn't get to this